never believed in haunted houses. Ghost stories were something I laughed about with friends over cheap beer and late-night campfires. But that was before we moved into the house on Halberd Street. It was a rental, an old Victorian tucked away behind a rusting iron gate, shielded by two dying willow trees that seemed to whisper when the wind picked up. We were just looking for something cheap, big enough to stretch our legs, and close enough to the city for our commutes. The landlord didn't say much, just handed us the keys with a look that hovered between apathy and regret. He didn't do a tour, just gave us the paperwork and muttered, "Place has history. You'll get used to it." We didn't ask what that meant. We should have. The first week passed in a blur of unpacking and arguing over which room would be the office. It was only the two of us, me and Claire, and the house felt too large, too empty, like we were intruding on something already in progress. There was a strange energy in the master bedroom, not cold, not ominous, just expectant. Claire didn't like sleeping there. She kept waking up at odd hours, claiming she heard footsteps in the attic. "Not walking," she said one morning, "dragging, like someone's pulling something heavy." Slow. I brushed it off. The house was old. Old houses make sounds, pipes shift, wood expands, nothing unusual. But that didn't explain the thudding from inside the closet. One night, I was alone in the living room, the flickering glow of the TV bouncing shadows across the walls. Claire had gone to bed early. I heard a creak from upstairs. Not the usual creak. This was deliberate, steady, step, pause, step, pause. I muted the television. Silence swallowed the room. Another sound, like something brushing against the walls of the hallway upstairs. I stood up, heart thudding, and called out, "Claire?" No answer. I climbed the stairs slowly, every step screaming beneath my weight. The hallway was dark, but I knew the light switch was to my right. Before I could flip it, I saw movement. At the end of the hall, just beyond the slightly ajar bedroom door, something shifted. Not a figure, a suggestion of one, pale, thin, slouched. I pushed the door open. Nothing. Claire was in bed, fast asleep, her breathing deep and slow, but the closet door was wide open. I didn't remember leaving it like that. Inside the closet, there was a smell, stale, damp, metallic. I reached in to turn on the small bulb inside, but as I did, I noticed something odd. The back panel of the closet was off color, newer, misaligned. I pressed it. The panel shifted, revealing a narrow crawl space. Just enough room for a person to slip through. Inside, it was completely dark. I leaned in, shining my phone's flashlight, and saw scratches on the wood. Fingernail marks, deep, frantic. I didn't tell Claire. I closed the closet, nailed the panel shut, and told myself it was nothing. Maybe the previous owners had hidden something. Maybe it was just old wood, worn down over time. But that night I couldn't sleep. Around 3:12 a.m., I heard a knock, 3 gentle taps. From inside the closet. Claire didn't wake. I stayed still, sweat pooling in my collarbone, heart hammering in my ears. The next morning, there were muddy footprints on the bedroom floor. They led from the closet to the foot of the bed and stopped. Claire thought it was me, said maybe I went to the kitchen and forgot, but I hadn't moved. I know I hadn't. Days turned into weeks, things escalated. Claire began talking in her sleep, murmuring things like, "He's still here," or "Don't open the door." She began drawing pages and pages of a man in a black suit with an eyeless face, lips torn and twisted into a wet red smear. "I don't remember drawing these," she said once, trembling. One morning, I found her in the hallway, standing outside the closet, whispering into the door as if someone was whispering back. When I asked what she was doing, she blinked like she had just woken from a dream. I thought I heard your voice in there." I had been downstairs. I finally confronted the landlord. He didn't act surprised, just sighed and lit a cigarette with shaking fingers. "House used to belong to a man named Granger. Lived here alone for decades, reclusive. Neighbors say he never aged. People stopped asking questions after a while. I asked what happened to him. The landlord hesitated. One night, the tenant upstairs, young guy, maybe mid-20s, called the police, said someone was living in the walls, kept seeing a man crawl out of the closet. Cops searched the house, found nothing. I asked if anyone died. He nodded. The tenant shot himself in the master bedroom a week later, left a note. It only said he wouldn't leave. I tried to stay rational, but everything changed the night the television turned on by itself. No signal, just static. Then faintly, beneath the hiss, laughter, wet, gurgling laughter. I turned it off. It turned back on. The screen flickered, and for a split second, a face appeared, pale, wrinkled, blood around the mouth. Granger. I didn't need to be told. I knew. That night, Claire screamed. I rushed upstairs to find her on the floor, clawing at her skin, muttering,
"Get him out! Get him out!"
The closet door was wide open, the back panel gone. From the crawl space, I saw a shadow retreat, crawling backward like a spider, jerking, unnatural. I nailed the closet shut again, burned the drawings, tore out the wires to the TV, but he was still there. Every night the floorboards creak with unseen steps. The scent of iron floods the room, and always, always the faint sound of someone breathing behind the walls. We don't live there anymore. We left the very next morning. Didn't pack, didn't tell anyone, just left. Weeks later, I received a letter, no return address. Inside was a photograph taken from inside the bedroom. In the picture, Claire is asleep in bed, and standing in the corner, smiling, head tilted, is Granger.